Okay, what I want to do this video is talk a little bit, it's part two of the first video, is talk a little bit about um, specifically the increase or decrease in variable costs and what those shocks look like, because it's a little bit trickier, a little bit more unorthodox. If you want to know about the change in supply or demand, a change in fixed cost, or a change in marginal cost, go look at part one of the video, but this is specifically just variable cost. Okay, so let's say that there's an increase in variable cost, and this is going to affect, why this is different is it's going to have effect on both the firm graph and the market graph. It affects both. The reason why is, like for example with a fixed cost, like I own a burger store, burger restaurant, and my lease increases by twofold. Is that going to affect the entire market of burger stores, all the other burger restaurants? Probably not, which is why it's only affecting the firm. But if a variable input like the price of hamburger meat increases, that affects both the market and the firm. It'll affect my individual firm to produce hamburgers and how much they cost, and also affect the market, all other people in that have burger stores. So let's say we do that. Let's say there's an increase in a variable cost, like an increase in hamburger meat. So in the short run, we know that if the cost of hamburger meat increases, you're going to be able to supply less. And the reason why that is because, like, let's say I have $100 to spend on hamburger meats. Originally, it was $5 a pound. It goes up to $10 a pound. So instead of buying 20 pounds of hamburger meat, I can only buy 10 pounds. Supply decreases. What else happens? The average total cost will increase because this increase in costs. Okay, and my marginal cost will increase. Okay. Perfect. So then I draw my new price, equilibrium price, go across. Now, you might notice in this that my price doesn't come anywhere close to my new, let me make sure you see this, my new price line doesn't intersect with the new average total cost. And that is by design. That's supposed to happen. Now, the shift in the supply curve is not proportionate to, it's not the same amount of a shift by the average total cost curve when we're comparing vertically. If you want to understand why, I'll explain why just now, but if you don't, just know that this shift in the average total cost curve is going to be greater than the shift in the supply curve. So the price shouldn't go through the minimum like it was previously. Now, the reason why is because when we do shocks of a supply curve, it's fixated on this this diagonal demand curve. So if we shift from here to here, so we shift by that amount, it's moving along the demand curve. But we always compare, when we look at price, we compare vertically. So we compare these, and the shock actually looks like that. Much smaller than how it was diagonally. Now if we take this same bracket and we move it to an average total cost curve or a marginal cost curve, they're usually more vertical, specifically the average total cost, because we're moving up and down. So it's on a vertical line. So we move from, let's say, an increase of here. Whoops, that's not good. To here. So then when we compare the two vertically, we see that it's actually an increase by that much, which is much greater than an increase of this, because it's by the same amount. So basically, because these supply shocks are moving along a diagonal demand curve, it's not as big of a movement, even though the bracket is still the same length. It's just we're kind of tilting it a little bit because it's on the demand curve. So we're losing a little bit of it to movement horizontally, while this one's all vertical, if that makes sense. And like I said, if it doesn't, don't worry, you don't need to know this, but some people it just helps. Just know that the shift in the average total cost curve is not this proportionate to the shift in the supply curve. So then after we do that, then it's just all the same steps. We look where the marginal revenue intersects with the new marginal cost curve. So that's right here. And then we draw that quantity. And we see that the old quantity was right here. Okay. And then we see that it intersects with the average total cost right here. So that's the cost point. This is the price points. Draw it across. So is this a profit or loss? It's a loss because the costs are greater than the price. So this area right here is our loss. Okay, perfect. So now this is another weird part, but it's still the same steps that we've done before in the first video. Because this is a loss, what's going to happen? People are still losing money. So supply is going to shift even further than it was before. And now it's a proportionate shift. So supply moves back even further. People exit the market. We draw our new marginal revenue curve, intersecting with the marginal cost curve right here. Would you look at that? The quantity is back to where it was originally. The price intersects with average total cost at its minimum, so we're back to zero profit. And the quantity stays the same. But then in the long run, we can compare again the supply shift even further. So the quantity the quantity decreased more and the price increased. And then if it's a decrease in variable cost, it's just the opposite of everything I just drew. Okay, so hopefully this makes some sense. Let me know if you have any questions. As always, Adam out.